Hello, welcome back to part 2 of Imposter Syndrome and how that guy shows up, because it does all the time in many outfits, shapes and sizes, and it's important that we get to know it so we can move with it, we can eliminate it, we can park it, we can do the things we want to do. So today's video, part 2, if you missed part 1, go back, because there is a sequence to this and it would be important to watch them. But today I want to talk about money, because for many, many years I was on that merry-go-round of over-delivering and undercharging. I had a lack of boundaries. I was so grateful to be in the room, and I just wasn't showing up as that full version of myself that I knew that A, I was capable of being, but B, that was my time to do that. And this is my time to do this. And maybe this is the same for you. Excuse me. The throat chakra is all coming out. And I think that so many of us can be in that temptation of playing small or doing things on the peripheral and just saying it doesn't really matter and it's just this small thing. And actually we have the potential right here, right now, to significantly change things, to move the needle, to do exciting things. So let's do them. The first thing I want you to really look at is having a conversation with money. Looking at your relationship with money, and not just what's happening in your bank account or what's happening in your financial life. That's really important and that's really valuable. But you're also going to get so much from how you talk about money, what you say in terms of your charging, how you ask for money, how you negotiate, how you share what the pricing is, how you are in that relationship, how it plays in your nervous system when you think about it, what works really well, what feels really good in terms of money, and what keeps you up at night worrying. I want you to notice it all, because ultimately whatever happens in the economy, whatever happens with governments or new legislation or banks or any of those sorts of things, one of the best things that you can do is work on your own money mindset. Because I've noticed 25 years in, there have been all kinds of twists and turns out there over the years. But I've also learned the power of understanding what is going on in here. What's going on in here in my body? What I've carried over the years? What needs to be released? What isn't true? And my goodness me, once you start looking, I mean, it's like one of those things where you start cleaning your house and then maybe you don't have this, but you know, we try and clean our house very regularly. But sometimes when you start pulling the furniture back, you're like, wow, there's a lot of dust there. Then you pull another piece of furniture back and you're like, there's a lot of dust there. And I've got to paint that. And why doesn't that work? And I've never liked that light. And suddenly you start to look at your house in a different way. That is all really good information. I want you to collect data, understand it. Because if you understand what's going on in here and here, then everything's going to be much easier to navigate and improve and progress. Number 2, I want you to notice the uncomfortable parts that are maybe going to give you the most information. So over the years, even though I'm not an athlete in the slightest, I've read lots of autobiographies about successful people. One of the things that I've noticed is that people watch their performance. They analyze it. So whether that's a sports person, whether that's somebody who is a sprinter, like what did I do? How did I maneuver around the people? When did I know when to go? When did I have that energy? What's the position of my arms? Or it could be somebody that's like a long jumper. Why do I stumble at that bit? What is it about that? Or it might be if you're looking at your speaking, you only realize that you do a lot of ums and ahs and woo, ah, la, 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 and you go round and round when you start watching these things back. I want you to do that with money and be so conscious and really turn up the brightness here and ask yourself, how am I feeling in this moment? Why am I hesitating here? Why am I behind on this? Why am I making excuses in the email? Why am I not doing what I said that I would do? What is going on? And it's peeling it all back, really looking at it, really analyzing it. Notice the state, the conversation, the feelings that you're having when you're making purchases, when you're receiving money. What is going on there? Notice it all. Number 3, go back to integrity and what you are trying to do. I know that there have been so many sales situations over the years where people have claimed in their 3-part video, I'm going to show you how to be the best seller in the world so you can sell anything. And I'm sure that there are those people who just can connect with something, they can sell it so easily, and off we go. And maybe the actor in me would like to think, well, I can do anything I put my mind to, I can make it work, I can find the truth in it. But actually, my relationship with selling is all based in integrity. I actually don't want to sell to people who A, won't connect with what I'm doing, or B, won't really need or appreciate or gain results from the things that I'm selling. I don't want unhappy customers. I don't want customers for the sake of customers. I want people to be happy and for it to be a right fit. And so when I go back to that and being committed to that process, the selling bit is actually really simple. Because when I have ideal clients through the door, I will often feel it in that discovery call where that person will say to me, I feel like this is something I really need. And that's when I know that I've done my job, because they've had that moment of self-selecting and being able to say, this is what I need and this is what I'm seeking and this is what I'm going to pay for. There's no, well, you've done a really hard sell there and I'm going to go away and think about it. You know when you have that connection. And it's the same with, going into a relationship with somebody. You don't want somebody to be like, oh, hi, I'm just here for the sake of it because, I didn't have anyone else to hang out with. You don't want that. You want somebody who's like, can't wait, I'm going away with the girls this weekend. Can't wait to see you. This is exciting. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. That's the kind of vibe that you want to have. Number 4, the relief of the customers. This will really help you sell and price and encourage that relationship and that flow of money. One of the things that comes up when people talk about increasing their prices is that imposter syndrome of like, is it okay to do that? Am I taking something away? Am I taking the money? Am I being greedy over here while this person is struggling? And, all of those things. Many of us are empathetic human beings. We want to do right by people. We want to be in integrity. And so I want to give you another perspective today of a purchase that will move the needle and move things forward. Not just for that person, and we'll go on to this in part number 4 as well. When we were moving into this house, it was a 5-month process. And our house is, it was built, it's an Edwardian house. It was built in the early 1900s. I don't know how many owners it's had over the years, but certainly we're in a conservation area. And so when we were going through the process, we needed to understand the bones of this house. So, as most people would do, you get a structural engineer to check it out, what's happening, what's going on, what's the roof doing, what are the foundations like, all of these things. And the great thing here was that structural engineering report, even though it was so much money for us, but, essential, it felt like grown-up money. It's, you know, when you're like, well, we're making a practical purchase here, which is a lot of money, but it's essential. We made that purchase, and getting the findings of that allowed the next bit of the process to unfold. As in, we then went on and moved into this house because of that structural engineer. And so it's about knowing that value that you provide. When I hired the structural engineer, he wasn't in that place of like, but is this okay? And like, he was fully in his power. He understood the value of what it was that he was providing, because not only was he helping me in that moment, it was a family, it was a couple and their 2 children who were 4 and 6 at the time, to make that move into having this house, which is what we wanted all along. So I really want you to switch that around. Imagine if your service, your offering, just brought relief and peace and a sense of satisfaction to your ideal client. And if you can't find the emotion in that, then I urge you to A, do something else, or B, really go back to the integrity of that. I mean, it could even be a phone case. You know, the fact that somebody's going to buy that phone case that fits their phone, so when they drop it or it falls out their pocket again and again and again, it's protected, it's safe, and it's well looked after. Number 5, I've touched on this briefly, but it's so important to check in with. The ripple effect. The ripple effect of what you're doing. And I am really big on this in showing my children especially the ripple effect of decisions. And I think it's such an important characteristic to have, to understand how your actions fit into other things. So one of the things that I'm often doing with them is, if one of my worst parenting things is repeating myself, especially if I've literally just said it twice 3 minutes ago. Like, I've asked you to put your shoes on. Why are your shoes just not on? And what I've started to understand and share with them is I use this visual of, right, Mummy's got 100 tokens of energy every single day. If I'm using 58 of those to tell you to put your shoes on, that is 58 of these nuggets that I don't have to do the other things. So somebody putting their shoes on the first time is going to be great. This is the same thing with your pricing, your service. What are the ripple effects of you doing this thing? And one of the things that I talk about lots is when people go, well, maybe it's not the right time because I want to be a good mum. And we have to stop thinking about things being really separate, because for many of us, we don't have the option just to be a good mum over here, because many incomes are reliant on everybody who lives in that household, their income coming in. And so sometimes we have to go through that painful thing of thinking, well, actually, I'm going to have 6 months where I'm, 20% less of a good mum because I'm having to work, or I'm having to do all these things, or I'm really going through a growth period. But ultimately, it's going to get me there to being a better mum, or the best mum that you can be in the long run. And this is the beautiful thing that we have to look at, the ripple effect of our work. Because once again, you're in that integrity, you're in that solidarity, you're in that sense of, yeah, this is what it is. Trust in yourself. That's when you're going to create amazing things. If you want to create your income pie, come on over to my website. There are 3 ways you can join: an online course, a course version, plus a strategy session. Or we can work together for a month, get things all moving and shaking, and your pricing, and it all feeling really great. Come back tomorrow for part 3, and I'll see you then. Bye.